Hello and welcome back to the Supercoach Experience podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach at the Savage Burbos. What's up, brother? Special team, special plays, special player. I'm joined here by my guest, my co-host, Timmy Moody, the 2021 champion. How are you?
Yeah, pretty good, man. I was a little bit playful. I don't know what it was, but I like it. Yeah, I'm pretty good. I had a good weekend. Enjoyed the footy. Yeah, probably the best week I've had for Supercoach this year, so pretty stoked with it.
I've always told you got to start these podcasts with more energy.
Special teams.
Special teams, special players. So how was your weekend in Supercoach?
Yeah, good. I scored 171.
God, that's pretty low.
1,171. And yeah, I moved up into 7,207. So it's a big jump. It sort of cut me in half. I was in 15,000. I think it was 30,000 the round before. So it's been a good 2 weeks. Last week was just a little bit better because I sort of got a little cheeky with my captain.
Last week, so you went with Nicho Hynes. You put the VC on turbo. How are you feeling after that first half double?
Okay, because I'd planned for it. You know what I mean? Mentally, I was like, there's every chance he goes 200 here today, but I'll VC, loop it. Worst thing I was going to do is an AE, you know what I mean? I would have been a crap AE. It would have been Blaze DeLonghi's 10, I think it was.
Ugh.
But I was just prepared to do it because I just saw it as an opportunity. I just thought the Titans coming up against Manly, I thought Des Hasler has really got some inside information on how to sort of, you know, not get the best out of Manly, you know what I mean? What they don't like. And so I thought he might be able to use a little bit of that. And then plus I just thought, look, too good to be true on paper. With the amount of people that were doing it, I thought if he gets injured potentially, it could be a really big opportunity to go elsewhere. And if he doesn't go massive, I thought Nicho would have been able to match him. I wasn't expecting that score, but I was pretty confident because of the matchup. The Cowboys, they're terrible in defence.
I really like the trades you've been making. You've stacked the centre wing and you've got Olakau'atu and Eli Katoa now. Yeah. How are you feeling about your side?
Yeah, good. It feels a bit more balanced. I was very, very centre wing dominant in the sort of first 2 to 3, 4 rounds. That was what I was bringing in. I feel a little lighter there, though, now because I sort of had 4 to 5 guys there. Now I've got kind of 3, but I'm happy with my 3 guys. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I scored 1,112. I went down to 22nd. I feel like there was an opportunity to move up places, but I think I'm pretty happy with the week. It wasn't a moving week. I saved the first trade of the year. So
that's awesome.
Got to be happy with that. And hopefully over the next couple of weeks I can keep going. But I do need to build up the strength in my side because I was playing Iro and Strange in my starting side. And also I'm playing Fini Fuiaki every week, which is kind of annoying. It feels like he's about to explode, but at the same time, he's not getting...
Can't trust him either.
Yeah, you can't trust him either. So I'm trying to build up squad depth and just trying to... It's so hard because it's catch-22. What I've done early is I've gotten points on the board for my side. Now I actually need to keep the points coming in. By utilising the cash I'm making.
Yeah, I reckon you actually pointed out a really good thing there, and it's something that I've just sort of addressed in the last couple of weeks about my side, is playing too many. Your side's good. You've got all these other guns that make you feel like you're going to get ahead of the average Joe, right? But then we're still sort of having to play like guys that probably have crap matchups, and they're like bottom dollar-y sort of guys that have still got a bit of value, like your Strangers, your Burbos for me over the last couple of weeks and stuff. Whereas I reckon if we can try get a nice 17 now and not be really relying on any of those guys that get those 30s and 40s that hold you back. That's probably the best way for yourself and me and anyone else to get ahead. It's not necessarily get more guns, like replacing one gun for a better gun. It's probably just dealing with these crappier guys that we're forced to play and getting someone that's a bit better playable. They might not have to be the most upside perfect guy, but
yeah, and because I have played the fullback rule there early on, it has stunted my my 14th to 17th options. And I'm rectifying that a bit this week, but the Ponga injury hurts because I was really looking at getting in 2 guns this week, and it's not quite. I mean, I'm still getting in 2 guns, but it's not happening as I would have
You're
liked.
losing a gun.
I'm losing
at
a
the
gun to
same
make
time,
it
yeah.
happen. But I guess we will talk about the Ponga injury. No, let's talk about that straight away.
Yeah.
Ponga injury. He's come out. He played injured. He was pretty highly captained on the weekend. First of all, the Bulldogs, they look a lot better than an easy matchup now. So I think we've really got to start take them seriously as a defensive unit. Like, yeah, I know their side on paper doesn't look as good as some other sides, but they're really showing, I think, on paper is a lot different to what teams can show in ticker. So with the Bulldogs, I think we've really got to take them seriously. But with Ponga, come out injured, 13 points. He didn't look good. Like he just looked like he was hindered the whole game. You were saying it last week after the injury. You're like, I think I might sell him anyway.
Yeah.
You're really thinking it, but I don't know. I was really hopeful that he'd just come back and get over it within a week or two.
Well, I don't know much about didn't know much about the injury, but just whenever I see someone get injured, I think I don't want playing with an injury when there's so many other great people in that position. So I was tempted to do it. It would have been a great play had I done it. But yeah, it's frustrating because the Knights had a really nice draw coming up. So not everyone owned him. He was very commonly owned as probably one of the most popular fullbacks, but that draw was so sweet. And yeah, it's just a headache now. A lot of the other options are kind of nice, but there's enough like negatives against each of these options that you kind of go, oh, is this the right guy for me? So I'm not really like feeling really settled on who to go to there yet.
Yeah, it's very annoying this week. But yeah, personally, there are a lot of options. I think if you haven't got Tommy, he's the number one guy.
Yeah.
In my opinion. And I've had a lot of questions saying I've got Pappy as my second fullback. I want to get this other guy. Do I go past Tommy? I do think Manly Sea Eagles have played a different style, not relying on Tommy, but he's still averaging 80 points, and I still think that massive game is still to come. So I think you've gotten away with it for now. Just get him in now. You've got Pappy as that pod in your second fullback spot. Pod up elsewhere. I get there is a temptation going to Reece Walsh this week as well, which I'm pretty sure you would be very keen on.
Yeah, I'm very tempted to do it. The only reason I'm probably not doing it is just because Grant, in our chat, been on the podcast once before, busy man. Busy man. No, but people at home that are playing along, they might recognise the name.
I reckon he's been on probably
twice,
once a year.
Yeah, okay.
Like once a year, he comes on.
Yeah, so he actually pointed out to me, which I didn't even really think of initially. I may have got there in the back end of it by myself, but credit to him. I just pointed out that I'd be able to sell Kalyn Ponga, move Earl to fullback, move Hutcho, who I've got at halfback, down to centre wing, and then get Cleary. So selling Kalyn Ponga and getting Cleary, I'm doing it just in one trade. I thought for me getting Cleary was going to be a boost. I was so stressed about the amount of players I was going to have to cull. Like there was going to be two guys I was like, they're not right to sell, or this guy, at least one of them is probably a keeper, whereas now I can just get it done. I could also bring Walsh in, but I'd need to boost, and there's not anyone in the cheapy style yet that I'm confident to lock in, so I potentially will my side won't be any stronger this week because I'm just swapping one gun for another gun in a different position kind of thing, which I'm fine with because I'm saving a trade as well, but yeah, that's why I think I'll probably go about it. Then next week in excess, maybe look at Drinky once he's gotten over the Panthers draw. Look at Walsh. He's probably going to go up a little bit, but no more than 700k. So whatever. I'll probably assess next week.
Well, yeah, Walsh is currently 17,783 people have traded him in. And I think going to Cleary from Ponga is a really good move. And just worrying about the fullback after Drinky has his Penrith matchup, especially if you think Drinky is a much better option than Walsh. Yeah, I think, or hats off to you for. I also think this week isn't, and especially with Latrell out, Teddy's not quite performing. Walsh just coming back from injury, and he doesn't have that high upside. In the past, it's kind of been like get Turbo, Pappenhausen, and all these gun fullbacks. If you don't have two of them in that slot, you're going to be burnt. But I think for this week, via the matchups, you can probably get away with it, especially if you're getting in someone like Cleary.
I think I'm particularly happy to not have two gun fullbacks for just that 1 week, just so I'm comfortable in which way I go. I'd rather not go bring Walsh in and then next week be like, man, I should have just got Drinky. Drinky's jaw's probably a bit better, or the fact that Drinky probably won't play Origin and then I can hold him through. So I've got to really, it's a big decision for me, and I don't know that I'm going to come to an answer by the end of this week, even if I wanted to trade in a fullback. So giving me 2 weeks has really allowed me to really take in all my options. Pappy's another option I'm really considering.
Pappy looks good. He looks like all these fullbacks, they haven't quite gone nuts. There's been Drinky who's had that 144. There's been Teddy with that 135. I guess Pappy's had that 132, but it's usually a run of games. And I think Dylan Edwards is the one who has had that run of games where he scored 4 tons this year, all above 115. He's looking really good, but with Cleary back, probably hinders him because he's been goal kicking. So another option I want to bring up for the Kalen Ponga replacement, I'm replacing him with Chance Nickel-Klokstad.
You're not doing it still, are you? Like, what about the SJ news? Like, I know he's named to play, but he's not 100%, which I think was the result of the Wars not winning on the weekend, and also probably, all those. Like, I expected Dallin to have a big game. I was really scared of you having SJ, thinking he's going to have a massive one, So I don't know if he's not at his best, that doesn't allow Chance to be his best. Maybe I thought it was a great option when you first mentioned it, especially because of the bye. There's definitely no playing Origin for him. On the back of that back line, he's got really great base. So even if he doesn't get an attacking stat, it's not the end of the world. He probably gets 65, maybe even 70 without an attacking stat. He just runs so much. But then if he has it, and he has a couple, then it's a good score. So I like it, and he's cheap. He's about 100K more than Walsh, but I don't know. That'd really hold me back, especially in your position. Hey, I don't. Does that concern you?
SJ?
Yeah.
Chance is an SJ. Chance...
They're different people, but obviously they're playing in the same back line.
If you watched last week, yeah?
Yeah.
SJ still looked good. Like, yeah, he's been carrying that injury, and they've been looking at resting him for a couple of weeks, but he still looks good. He still looks like he's getting in the right positions and putting his team in the right positions.
What if he does his Achilles this weekend? Or what if it's bad enough that they do decide, look, we're going to have to give him a week or two off?
If they do, then...
Fullback roulette again?
Well, I'm probably going to do the fullback roulette with Chance anyway, but I think just with that...
I don't want to talk you off him. It's just a little asterisk that makes me go, makes me a bit
I don't
concerned.
like anyone else. I don't like Walsh. I've never liked Walsh as a Supercoach player. He has to do a lot to get 110. Like, yeah, he has got 140s in the past, but he does a lot and just seems to score 90 every week. He has big games. With Chance, I really feel like he can... Chance is probably similar because he's got that base and he probably only gets 1 attacking stat or 2 attacking stats at best per game. But I just feel like with the Titans matchup and coming off a loss, that Anzac Day game at home, 2 o'clock, I just feel like I can capitalize with this matchup, and they play the Knights next week, who are severely under strength as well. I think it's a good 2-week play at least, and I can hold him if I need to. As I said before, this fullback roulette has really hindered the rest of my side, so I think I'm going to pull back from it a little bit and just focus on these fires I need to put out. Payne Haas was named this week, so I probably need to get out Corey Jensen, which is a bit annoying because I don't really want to have to get someone in that position, but it is what it is. But yeah, I am getting Chance. Sean Johnson is named once again, and he is the 2 o'clock game. If he is named, he's had this injury for a couple of weeks and still scored really good. So if he is named, I'm all for having him in my side this week, and I think going SJ to Cleary next week.
Flickering. I don't know if that's a bad thing.
That's very bad. Oh my God. All right, sorry if you're watching on the videos. It obviously just went crazy for a second, and it just cut out completely. So we had to get that fixed, and because of that, the video is out much later than expected. You guys watching might usually be used to it coming out at 6 o'clock. It's not going to be out at 6 o'clock tonight. It's going to be out a bit later. But yeah, I guess that's the fullback replacement, and I think it's going to be a very interesting little period now until we get a grasp on who the top two are. It's also quite an open field because it is a good chance to go left field. But a lot of people are going Reece Walsh, and all these other options are way cheaper than what Kalen Ponga was. So people have cash to play with. There have been a few little cheapies pop up this week in TLT, so we will go through that a bit quickly. But I do want to go just over tactics quickly. So 10 of the top 30 averaging players are centre wings, which I think is quite interesting because every time I go through Team of the Week, the top 5 to 10 players are centre wings every week. They're always 100 plus. And then you go down further to like the front rows, the hookers, then they're never 100 plus. And then the second rowers sometimes have the weeks where it's 100 plus and all that. 9 of the top 30 total points for players are centre wings as well. So I think that really highlights that centre wings is where it's at this year. So you've done right by stacking it up. It's also about getting the right ones, I guess, like the Joey Manus, Ronaldo Mulitalos, Zach Lomax, Valentine Holmes. Dallin's not even in there at the moment. So I think this is the year for the centre wings. And I think if you're not running 4-gun centre wings by now, you've probably got to prioritise that.
Yeah, at least 2 really primo ones. And then... you might have an RTS as your third one. I don't consider him in that premium elite group at all. In fact, I sold him last week. Might come back to bite me in the bum this week playing against the Titans. But he's had good matchups in the past. I just feel that he does a lot of great work in NRL and he looks so good. He's, the step, the footwork, it just looks so great. It feels like each step should be worth 20 points. The palms and stuff. But it just doesn't seem he's getting used in their own end enough to... I don't feel like he's a try-scoring threat, that much of a threat. So I'm not too nervous about it. And that allowed me to go to Ola Kawatu.
I did say this last week, like, is he a sell? And I listened to a lot of podcasts and they were just saying he's not a sell. And, like, I kind of agree with them. That's why, like, I didn't sell him. And also, like, my centre wing wasn't stacked up yet. So he's, like, the last guy I think I need to sell because he adds that security as that extra guy. But at the same time, it's so hard going around with him and just not having that upside. And I think it's pretty obvious now. He's good to have in your side right now while you're building your squad strength. But I don't think he's a final 17 player.
It's pretty good to start with for the year. I think that we started with him and did quite well. He was, getting good base, so you're happy enough. He was chalking away. But just at this point of the season, if he's 600K and, you've got those super guns at a 700 or... even mega gun, prices like the 800K for Val and Lomax. I just feel so much more confident about both those guys. Both kick goals, and they're just in a lot of the attack for their sides as well. Val's been a little bit quiet here and there, but yeah, RTS. I don't think he's I'll rush and sell him. You got to sell him now. It's just if you find someone else that you don't know how you're going to get a guy, and he's sitting there. That was for me. He's the guy I sold so I could afford someone else.
There's one front rower in the top 30 averaging players, and that's AFB. He's averaging 70, and he's only scored, I think, 1 or 2 tries. So he is looking good. He's just scoring 70 every week for fun. There are 7 in the top 30 that are second rowers, so they're the next best position. They're looking pretty good, and I think guys like Ola Kawatu, Eli Katoa, Isaiah Yeo, Pat Carrigan are going really well. Pat Carrigan is 18th. He's the highest average. He's the highest second row with the total points, with an average of 67.4. Isaiah Yeo is the next best for total points, but he's averaging 78.5.
He played a game less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's looking so good.
Isaiah Yeo, he's so good. He's definitely a premium option, but I think at this time of year, it's a bit tricky because when you want Harry Grant, you want Nathan Cleary, you want all these other guys, you can't really get Isaiah Yeo in and afford to really...
Don't be bringing in too many Origin players this time of the year too.
They've got to be elite.
It's funny though because I love Ola Kawatu, I like Eli Katoas and stuff, and players like Kikau that have got really exciting attack and score tries, and they do that and they get to 80 and it seems like a lot of hard work. And
Yeah.
Isaia just goes out there and takes his runs,
70
million
every
tackles. Yeah. So it doesn't have to, and you don't have to be sort of nervous about watching it. So for that fact, he's a mad own.
There is a wasteland, and that's 5'8". Matt Burton is actually averaging the most in 5'8". He's been killing it the last 3 weeks, and the Bulldogs look good. His goal kicking 67.6. He's averaging, but to put it into context, 13 centre wings are averaging more than him. So I think the fact that that is the case, you don't prioritise getting a guy in a shit position.
True.
You prioritise getting in someone in a hot position that can really.
I agree to an extent because they're both sort of that. I think he's about 770k, isn't he?
He's now, yeah.
Yeah. So at that price tag there, you 30k off getting Val Holmes, or if you don't have one of these players, or you're really liking Lomax. Although Lomax is named in the centres again, did okay last week in the centres, but probably better on the wing. The only thing I will say though with Matty Burton, because he might be the. I'm not saying he's the best in the position for the year, but currently he's the best in the position. If other people are stuck playing, like myself, Galvins and Strangers, and you get excited when Galvin gets a 70, he's had a good game, he's had a bit of an attacking play, and Stranger's got moments where he can have a good game and get 70, 80, 90, but they've also got a lot of 35, 40s in them, and I don't know how much longer I want to play them, whereas Matty Burton, the way the Doggies are playing at the moment on that left side, you feel a bit more confident that he's going to be getting potentially closer to... We could, with the upside, double. You know what I mean? We could get 80 while they're getting 40s. He might only get 60s too, while the others are getting 40s, or might only get 60s while Stranger's also getting 60s. So, but just because he's the best in the position, maybe you do want to look at him for that.
But the difference is with Lockie Galvin, I'm not sure quite what he averages, but to get Matt Burton's average of 67.2, and let's just say you prioritise that position this week and you're getting in Matt Burton, who has the bye, so this is a hypothetical.
Yeah.
You get him in to get a 67.2, where Lockie Galvin averaging about 50, right? You're missing out on 17. Oh, you're getting 17 more points. But if you've got like a Roger Tuivasa-Sheck who's averaging 60 points instead of a Ronaldo Mulitalo who's averaging 90.2 points.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
That's 30. What did I say, Roger? 60. So that's 30 points compared to 17 points.
Yeah.
That you could be making the jump on. So just because you are falling down in one position, I don't think it's necessarily.
If you're making it up more in another position, then
it counteracts that.
Yeah,
it counteracts that. I get you're gonna have to put these fires out eventually, but it's also just about priority. So for mine, in my situation this week, I don't want to be playing. I'm happy with Iro. I'm very happy with Iro. Playing him as my fourth centre wing, but having Strange in my starting centre wing spot, I'm not very happy with. So this week I am getting in a gun centre wing, and that kind of counteracts what I'm doing elsewhere. Sean Johnson, I think, can average close enough to Cleary over the next week or two, just while I hold off, because a lot of people are getting in Cleary this week, and I just think boosting up that centre wing position to get an extra 20 points is probably more valuable than, the 10 points maybe Cleary gets more than SJ this week, if he does get more. I think the matchup is very juicy for SJ, very juicy for Cleary as well, mind you. So I just think I wanted to have that chat just to put into perspective that these fires that you think you need to put out, maybe they're not as important as you think they are. So, I guess...
Some of the guys feel like they're peaking in price. I feel like I'm sort of stressing out looking at a lot of these guys.
They're peaking at the same time, aren't they?
And I'm like, I don't know who I'm going to go to. It's kind of exciting to have that value and be able to get the better players, but yeah, all at the same time is a bit awkward. Like Strange, you probably own him a couple more weeks maybe, but Schiller, you probably own him a little bit longer.
Strange also plays the buys and may goal kick this week, so very, very interesting to see.
I guess it's worth at least. I'm telling people if you can hold Strange one more week just to have a look at how he goes as the dominant halfback in their side now that Fogarty's out, it might be worth seeing how much more he's on the ball and if that translates to Supercoach points.
For sure. On to team list. Jacob Laban is named in the second row for the Warriors. He's a cheapie at 200k. He's played 3 games already, but he's coming off a 9, so he has a break-even of 37. You can wait a week.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a nice little downgrade option. I don't know where Capewell is. It says Capewell is out. He'll miss the Anzac Day game after suffering a throat injury against the Dragons. So if we can find more out on that, if he gets... He needs to get probably 3 weeks after this week, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know much about throat injuries, but it doesn't sound like something that keeps you out that long. I don't know.
Like Rory Cross Jason retired over a throat injury, so they can be quite serious, but maybe it is just a like
have a strepsil and
pretty much just give it a rest.
Yeah. It could be a bit trappy, but he might be that one of those guys that you don't want to be bringing these guys in if they're going to be like this, but gets his moments here and there due to other injuries, and becomes available. I think he really looks very good in just the first game. I've sort of made a little note of one particular player. I was like, wow, a super coach player, that guy.
Played very limited minutes, though. So I think the fact that his break-even's 37 is great for Supercoach. It would have been awkward if he was named in his 3rd game and his break-even would have been lower because he got 9 points in his last game. Angus Crichton named again for the Roosters, so good for buyers there. Dominic Young is back for Supercoach.
Don't say that on his name for a little while.
I guess he has a big break-even, so he'll be bottoming out in a couple of weeks. Zach Lomax retains his spot in the centre wing. Geez, he had a field day last week. He's right in contention for Origin. I've got a question for you. If you don't have Zach Lomax, 800k now, do you prioritise getting him in, or this has been my thing all year, get in the next guy, but it feels like Zach Lomax is that type of guy where you look back on the season and say, he killed me and I refuse to get him in.
Yeah, I can't see there being too much of a fall off. Even when the Dragons have had poor games, he's still been scoring in the 50s. He hasn't had any bad games where you're disappointed. And he's just, I don't know, it's just this crazy new attitude of just working, wanting to make loads of runs. The high ball kick chase thing, that's just a new thing that they've just... Coach Flanagan must just sort of know how to work a certain player and get the absolute best out of him, because he's always been a super coach option, and even when he was at centre and stuff, but you'd think of him maybe near the buys, but often still pass. Wow, now he's looking at a premium, probably top two centre wing. Definitely top 4. Would I pay up 800k? Especially if he's a guy that you're watching every week going, why didn't I get him? Why didn't I get him? And what? Maybe, but the value's not great there. You probably, does he average 80 from here on? That's what you got to ask yourself from here this week on, because all what he's done in the past, everyone else who's owned him's got the benefits of that. Does he average 80 from here? I don't know that he averages 80.
I think what he's done is he's a goal-kicking centre wing, so he's going to average pretty well, and he's always been a super coach option in the past, even with bad form. He's still been a pretty good super coach player. The thing is now is, I think if you don't have any other fires to put out on your side, and he's the one guy who you're like, oh, fuck, I need to get him. I think go ahead, go get him. But I think you're really detrimenting yourself if you're going out of your way, spending 800k. Like me selling Ponga to Chance Nickel Clockstad this week banks me a bit of money. I can go to Lomax, but I'm going to a guy a bit cheaper, so it allows me to get another gun next week.
You keep hinting to this guy. Who is this bloke?
I'll tell you. Okay. I'll tell you in the trade segment.
Okay. So what I will say is that there are other ones. You say get the next guy. Dom Young caused me headaches, but with him dropping a bit of cash, maybe you wait a couple of weeks on him, he could be super cheap. And I really thought he was going to be scoring loads of tries there just because he had one tantrum and a bit of a bad game the week prior against the Panthers. He's still
It doesn't mean he's not the guy.
Yeah, he's a mad option still. So, I'll probably even look at him in a couple of weeks as well. So,
one thing I did want to mention, Zach Lomax, there's been all this talk about him moving clubs, and a lot of people kind of held off him just because they thought, this might hurt his Supercoach output. He did sign the contract last week, come out and scored 93. I guess he would have wanted to prove to people that he
wasn't just playing for a contract.
Yeah, wasn't just playing for a contract, and then once he got his contract, didn't just retract. This happened to Jack Whiten last year. So the minute he signed his contract with the Rabbitohs, he scored 133 that following week. After that, scores of 39, 48, 34, 22, 38, 28, 27. So he came out, shut the talk down, and then after that, it was kind of like, and Zach Lomax and Jack Whiten seem like very different characters in my opinion. So I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is also something that could happen. And, you know, it's only been 7 rounds. How often do we look back on the season and think this guy could have been the highest averaging center wing for the year, but he just didn't do it the whole season? Like, I know Cody Walker always goes on runs, and you always have him in your side, and you're like, he goes on a lean run, and then you're like, when do I sell him? And when is he going to come back? Like, these players don't just keep it up for the full season. Like, if he averages 80 for the rest of the season, good on him. But it's
he
all...
might finish on an average of 80. Like, he's still got those big, decent ones. Yeah. But I'm just thinking, can he do it from here to the next period? He could probably get close enough.
I think he's talented enough to do it. And I'm just trying to look at negatives.
The workload there with the goal kicking as well. Then, you know, the attacking plays. It seems like he's close enough for a try a lot of games.
Yeah, exactly. Do the wheels fall off for the Dragons though? Like their roster.
Yeah, Coach Flanagan seems like
I know.
even though
He's
they might have a bad week, he whips them back and
he's such a good thing for them.
Rate him, eh?
Jai Gray keeps his spot for the Rabbitohs. Interesting one there. 5'8" cheapie potentially. He is available at 5'8".
Got my eye there because I am very of the idea that they will put Latrell to centre.
I really think
they
yeah.
will. I think he'll just be like, it's the best thing for the team, blah, blah, blah. And I think Latrell will take it too. I think Latrell will be fine there. Like, what's the difference? Is he happy, like, wants to just sort of be, you know, a bit lethargic and not really make the effort plays at fullback? You can make not effort plays at centre, and just when you get the ball at centre, be efforty. It's just when you're at fullback, you've got to be on the whole game, and he's not.
He will be a roaming centre as well. Like, there's no doubt about it.
Suits them. I think it suits them.
Oh, I think so too.
I like him, but we can have another look. He's got Jai Gray, obviously, in the Bunnies. They got the Storm, then they got the Panthers. So awkward games where even if he's having a really good game, NRL-wise, probably doesn't translate too much to Supercoach. So can probably even wait and just pay a bit up for him.
Yeah, Jai Gray's the type of guy. Latrell is... he has a 3-game suspension as well. So next week will be the week where we're looking at him being like, we need to get him this week for bottom dollar. I think it's fair to just wait a week and just wait and see where Latrell actually goes, whether Jai Gray goes out of the side. Yep. Jacob Gagai is also named on the wing for the Rabbitohs. So if he gets another game next week, he's another cheapie.
Owners will be stoked.
Oh, Jesus. I reckon people would have sold him too. So that's a bit annoying. But you live and you learn. Josh King, Sean Bloor named for that edge. Jesus Christ, he looks good. And I would have been happy if I jumped on him early.
A little bit of FOMO because I was kind of like, because everyone was doing Angus, I thought, geez, this could be a nice pod play, but just the pedigree of Angus and...
I wouldn't love doing having Eli Katoa and Sean Bloor, relying on both of them.
Me neither.
Because, like, if one of them goes over, the likeliness of the other one going over one game. But sometimes it's good to have that reassurance, I guess. Like, if one goes over and one does shit, like, at least one went over. But at the same time, what if they both do shit because they get dominated? Joe Chan's coming off the bench at number 16. He looked good in the middle on the weekend. I thought he found a home off that bench spot, and I'm actually very excited for his cash generation. He has a break-even of -16, -14, and he's 281K. So a bit annoying if you looked at selling him. But nonetheless, I actually think he is a very nice hold. Peter Mamazelis gets that bench spot. He is on his 3rd week. So Damien Cook is back in the side. I don't know.
Now, hey, not off the bench.
Yeah, he's 243K, has a -11 break even. Can't do it off the bench.
Very good chance he just disappears out of the side and which would be a bit annoying, and he's probably a bit of an AE nightmare while he's in the side. Cookie's not going anywhere. That was just like a 1 week shake up to try and look like you're doing
For sure.
something.
Yeah, exactly. Ethan Sanders is named at 6 for the Parramatta Eels. He's a potential cheapie prospect. Obviously, Moses is still to come back, so probably wouldn't look at it. He's
Where's
more
he available? Only halfback.
I haven't actually looked, to be honest.
I don't know.
But he's more of a game organizer. Like, he doesn't get many halfback only.
Yeah, no.
Only gets attacking stats through kicks, I'd say. Not much else doing there. Dylan Brown's still at halfback. Bit annoying. Brendan Hands is on the bench, so if you do have Joey Lussick.
Speaking of annoying, as a non-owner of Dylan Brown, that late try was remind me of Latrell when he did that about a month ago when he was on nothing.
That's happened to me all season, hasn't it?
Yeah, you've got quite a few of them, and I'm always like, oh, he's pulling back a little bit there, and then it goes bang, and I'm like,
I hate that so much because I actually went to bed really shitty, and I was putting my daughter to bed on the Friday night, and he was on like 23, and I fell asleep before the end of the game, and I woke up with the when you have a Supercoach hangover, you just feel like shit.
Oh yeah, I've had one for about 8 weeks. Mate.
Yeah, and I'm looking through my chats, and I see a notification from someone saying, "I can't believe
you didn't do this."
I can't believe Dylan Brown got that late try." And I'm like, "What late try with a line break?" And I looked at the app, line break try, and I'm like, "Thank fuck! What'd he get? 60 points." I was like, "I'll take it," considering what he was on. Yeah, Samuel Afanu starts in the back row. Johnny Bateman goes back to lock. Piacora's back. So is Adam Reynolds and Payne Haas. Xavier Willison keeps his bench spot as well, but they look like they've got Hetherington, Fletcher Baker on the bench as well. So less minutes for the middle forwards there. But yeah, they look at full strength, versing the Tigers away from home though at Campbelltown Sports Stadium.
So I've held on to Piacura. Like, you play him, you reckon, or like he probably plays 80 minutes, or coming back off for maybe.
They don't have an edge back row on the bench.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll just roll him out then. It's probably gonna be a lot better than my other, 2 or 3 sort of,
How about you last weekend? Bloody.
Hutcho Hughes decision.
Yeah, so we had a guy get added into our group chat. His name was Brock Hutchison.
Just at the moment that I'm tossing up whether to play Hughes or Hutchison, I'm like, well.
And then Timmy saw it as a sign.
Yeah.
Get him.
It was a tough decision just because Hughes being moved back to the bench was annoying. I mean,
he was guaranteed 45 minutes at least anyway, I would say.
Yeah, I know. I was dealing with a lot of pros and cons in both. Like the random stats guy had pulled up that, halves have been averaging 60 points against the Knights. And I thought, and a lot of those halfbacks that have been averaging 60 against them weren't premium halves either. So I thought maybe it's more achievable. I don't know. I just kind of had it. And it was going to be, I thought it was going to be my last week of having Hutcho, being that I was going to get Cleary this week. So I thought, give the bloke a go. Let him have his one more chance in the side. But yeah, it wasn't that bad. Had he not scored, like the worst part about it was Patolo got injured in the first minute. Then Hughes comes straight on. So I did like a massive tantrum, like a lot of like profanities. And then he scored like in the second minute or whatever. And I'm like, no! It was really, really scary. Like really, really painful. But yeah, it was 69 and 40 points or whatever.
You'll take it.
It hurt though.
At least he didn't score 13, right?
Yeah.
Cleary is back for the Penrith Panthers. So is Taylor May. Bounce back week for the Cowboys potentially, but I don't know if that's going to happen. The Penrith Panthers, they've just been coasting along waiting for this. They've got 2 out of 3 wins. I don't know how Cleary comes back, but geez, he's nice to have back for Supercoach. And I actually wasn't scared not to have him, but as soon as I saw his name leading the team list, like on the team list, it like shows a photo of 3 players usually. Yeah. He's sitting there in the middle. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's scary.
Saw the chin.
So you're getting him in, obviously?
Yeah, definitely going to get him because mainly for my side, I've had only one halfback for the start since the start of the season and plan to get Nathan in round 7. Obviously, with the injury there, I'd push back a little bit. But yeah, sort of super excited about it. I think that the fact that they held him back that one extra week as well makes me a bit more confident in him being sweet. He's always come back with a bit of a bang. the match up against the Cowboys is really, really good as well. The only thing, the bounce back, because they were very poor, the Cowboys. I do worry if maybe but if they were going to be try to be defensive minded, and they would have showed a bit more of that throughout the year. So I don't think they can turn that around in 1 week.
For the Knights, David Armstrong named a fullback potential cheapie option for Supercoach. Greg Marju played on the left last week, 620k with a break-even of 122. Only 7 people have traded him in this week, and he's 2% owned.
Yeah, but with Kalen
Can you
Ponga
do it
gone,
without
nah,
KP?
nah.
I think he gets enough base without him.
Yeah,
but
for sure. And he might get. He's a winger, so he'll get the odd tries. You know what I mean? Just being on. When they score tries, there's a good chance it's probably going to be one of their wingers. But they're just going to be a bit of a shadow of the side that they were without him. So I think there's just better options.
Jack Bostock and Max Plath named once again. Bostock just keeps on keeping on. This
looks like a gun too. Like he.
Yeah, we kind of said in the preseason, I guess, like we can see him being this big rangy guy that's kind of like Tom Trebojevic.
Yeah.
But the thing that put us off was he was playing the left side, and their dominant side is the right side. But it seems like they're just going left now. Like, it's ridiculous. Max Plath looks really good. -6 break even at 380k, available at second row as well. Bit out of my price range, a bit out of the price range I would have liked, but I think with Max Plath, he's the kind of guy you get if it allows you to do other things, and it's not a bad purchase at all. Like, the scores he's been pumping out, 43, 53, 30, 94, but that 30 was with the Symbian, and he played 70 minutes on the weekend.
What's his PPM?
1.311.
Had he been playing lesser minutes in those 30, 40 scores? He wasn't playing 80.
30 minutes. He played 46 minutes, but that was with a Symbian.
Yeah.
And the 43 was 43 minutes, so that's a 1 ppm. And that was the first game of the year, so you can kind of...
It's a funny one. He kind of reminds me a little bit of, like, as a purchase, not so much as a player, but like... a Ruben Cotter-ish, you know what I mean? Just like a real little guy that's got that workload. He can pop up and get involved in support plays and stuff like that. He could be like with the minutes, he could be a solid enough play, but I don't know. My gut just tells me it's a bit meat and potatoes. I just think if we didn't see that big score last week at that price, we probably wouldn't be that
for sure.
hot on it. Yeah,
for sure. Kai Pearce-Paul, gun. He got that attacking stat once again. The Sharks played Canberra for the last game. Chevy Stewart is named potential cheapie option this week, but scored 14 last week. I can forgive him for that, but I guess he's the type of guy where if I see a good score from him this week, then I'll consider him next week. I don't care if he gets a nice little price rise this week.
That's right. I think you could pay 300k for him if then you knew he was worth it. He had more, like you knew his job security was there as well. If you had to go to a bottom dollar cheapie to sort of get Nathan Cleary, I don't mind it. It does come with a bit of risk, but I feel like he's got enough talent, the young kid, but he's also got a lot of ticker. He showed that after a,
for sure. He still played well. Played well considering he got a small Supercoach score. He just got absolutely peppered, and the Broncos will do that to you when the draw opens up a little bit more. Maybe the story is different. For the Sharks...
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
You got the hot touch. If you had to do a bottom dollar cheapie, would you go Simi Sasagi he's available at centre wing as well. He's got the lower break-even score of 70 last week. He's playing second row this week, I think. He played in the halves last week. He's only available at centre, so he seems like a very durable guy, but might be someone that doesn't really keep a spot. Which one would you go if you had to go one of them?
Simi Sasagi, break-even in -40, so with a score of 35, he gets 70k this week. I'd probably go him, just with the risk that he doesn't, like if he doesn't work out, you can go down to Chevy Stewart the week after for more cash anyway.
True.
But he looks like he's playing big minutes on the edge, and I'm not going to make it happen this week. But if I'd have to look at how far Whitehead is as well, because if Whitehead's back next week, then I probably wouldn't. But if it's like up in the air that he could be 2 to 3 weeks, I'd consider taking him punt for sure.
He maybe gets a bench role after that. Who knows?
Potentially, yeah.
On form.
Talakai keeps his bench spot. Dale Finucane announced his retirement today. So condolences to his career. Congratulations. Depends on how you
Definitely
look at it.
congratulations.
Tricky Trindle caught driving without a license and under the influence of some baggies. So
was he doing two things, or is that just the charge, drink, drive? Like, do they just call it drink and drive?
DUI.
Okay.
DUI. So he's out of the side. He's stood down. I don't know how long for, but this is good for Hines, especially after a massive performance from Hines.
Yeah.
We know he's got it in him. Daniel Atkinson, he's available at halfback and fullback, which is a bit annoying.
Icky.
He's actually a really good player.
How long's Trindle going to be out for with these?
We don't know. So
yeah, I wouldn't be going there.
But yeah, how does Trindle get to training if he doesn't have a license? Scooter?
Electronic scooter. It's all the rage these days. All the kids are doing it.
Or maybe he runs. Maybe that's why he needs the bags.
No, he wouldn't want to run.
No?
Nah.
Yeah, right. Maybe he... Nah, that won't work.
Live edit. Yeah, good.
Yeah, live edit. Kale Iro keeps his spot. Talakai on the bench, even with all these forwards back. Hamlin Uele, Toby Rudolph, Jack Williams, and Kafusi and Hazelton starting side. Royce Hunt is in number 21. So I don't know what that means. So maybe that means Talakai is a late switch into the centres and Royce Hunt comes onto the bench. But with a 4-forward bench there, I feel like it's smarter for them to just keep Talakai on the bench so they've got someone to cover the backs.
Definitely.
So interesting to see how that one plays. But I think Kale Iro, I think you'd be really... We have to nearly consider him to have won that spot.
Oh, yeah, I think he's definitely keeping it in my mind. He's there season long, I'm thinking. I don't think they'll pull him out even for a couple of weeks, like, because, he's young or whatever, because he's not that young. So.
Well, yeah, he's like, what, 24, 26?
24.
24? I really like him. All right, moving on to our trades for the week. What are you doing, Timmy?
Definitely getting in Cleary. That's 100% going to happen. I might look at Walsh. Like, I'd have to really, by the weekend, come to the decision that I think that I'm happy to go with him for at least these 5 weeks. And then I'm also happy to trade him out to someone else. I would need to make that decision. But the best likely scenario is that I end up bringing in a gun fullback next week. Just put Kale Iro down as my second fullback for this week temporarily.
Don't hate it.
Yeah, that's probably the way I'm going.
Just that one trade?
Yeah, if I was going to do something else, it would be Walsh, and then I'd have to boost, and I'm not really prepared on any of these other cheapies. So just the fact that I can wait, have a look at the cheapies, have a look at the fullbacks again, more time to decide. Maybe Drinky's the guy, maybe Pappy's the guy, maybe Chance has a blinder this week, and SJ looks fine, and I end up going down your route as well. But I think I'm probably one of those Pappy, Walshy guys.
Yeah. Well, I'm going Ponga to CNK. I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, what are you doing? What's his centre winger you've been talking about? Or is it Garrick?
Yeah, it is.
Garrick?
Yeah, I'm going Schiller to Garrick.
Yeah.
And I've still got 200K in the bank, so I can go maybe a Galvin or a Strange or a Fini Fuiaki or a Burbo to another gun next week.
Is Sir Garrick running at Morgan Harper this weekend?
He is. He is at Four Pines Park.
Morgan Harper might take this one very personally. I want to have a good one, but then again, he might just get exposed. I don't know.
The thing that annoys me is that Parramatta have just been towed up by the Dolphins, so it screams out bounce back week, doesn't it?
A little bit, yeah, but I'm still not confident in the Parasite. They just look. Their forwards go well, but they're just a bit.
They just look slow, don't they?
Yeah.
Just the whole side. There's not much to like there.
Yeah, a lot of people are bringing Garrick in, and I know he's got a big BE still, hasn't he? Like, where you could definitely wait and get a price drop.
156.
I don't think if he was playing like a mad matchup where it was like, oh, he's probably going to ton up this one. Like last week's matchup was probably a better matchup for him.
With 608K, And there's a lot of people around that price range. Like I think getting a gun center wing at 600K now
Kicks
is
goals.
pretty good. Is
Very
pretty good.
handy for buyers.
149 break even, and 383 people have traded him in this week. That is nothing. 11% of teams, and like he's a goal kicking center.
I think at the price, he's such a great option. He just hasn't, like, he's been on my radar in the respect of, he's someone I want to have in my side over between 13 and around 20. But prior to that, I've just sort of like, the thing I'm thinking about him for is I don't want to get stuck paying $750 or something like that in a couple of weeks just because he's doing really well, and then I'm like, oh, bloody hell, I'm going to have to get him because he's one of the better options over the bye period. He's going to be playing fullback in that period as well.
Or does Cooler play fullback?
Probably, actually. That's the way they've been leaning, haven't they? Yeah, so maybe it's not that's okay. Yeah, I'm just a little bit like, I'm not off him. I'm just not like that scared of him.
He's not as good an option as he has been in the past playing on the wing. But he was averaging 79 before that one against the Panthers.
Very under the radar then.
Very under the radar. He only scored 2 tries, so 1 try for 99 points and 1 try for 92 points. So he scores a try, gets 90 points. He's getting 24, 16, 16, and 20 points in goal kicks. So he's getting he's averaging just a tick below 20 in goal kicks per week.
Maybe I might be needing to look at a gun centre because, as I said to you, I've only got 3 that I'm rolling out because I've moved Errol down to fullback. I'm now stuck playing Schiller. He's my only option.
If you can do it in 2 trades, it's a pretty good option.
Yeah, I just don't know who I could sell. I've got Strange at better value. I just don't think I could get Schiller to. I couldn't get forward Garrick this week, so I just think I've just got to do what's right for me.
The thing about him this week as well, he is at 4 Pines Park. He's at 4 Pines Park versus Canberra the week after as well. And then he plays the Dolphins and Brisbane the following weeks. And then he plays Melbourne Penrith. So, like, if you want to get him, I don't think waiting till next week is going to be smart enough. I think you've got to get that 3-game run. And then hopefully your centre wing is strong enough to be able to maybe sit him for one of these future games. Even against Melbourne, like, I don't mind playing him running against Remus Smith. Like, Remus Smith is pretty good defensively, but if there's a weakness in the Melbourne side, their outside backs aren't quite the elite players. Like, Xavier Coates is a freak, but I just love him. If the Bulldogs didn't have the bye this week, Karaz is at a similar price. I would have loved to get Karaz this week playing on the wing.
I'd love to have him in my side because then I'd have Val Holmes, goal-kicking centre, Lomax, goal-kicking centre, wing, and then also Garrick, goal-kicking centre. Like, it just seems so attractive and so... Yeah, maybe it's not for me this week. I don't want to rip my side apart and boost to do it. I can get him cheaper next week.
I agree. Tipping point. We are at the tipping point. We've got Walsh, Chance, and Cleary today.
How'd you go last week? I think you beat me.
I did beat you last week, so we're 1-1.
3-1?
No, it was 2-1. It was 2-1. So I got Crichton correct. I got Iro incorrect. But I got Tommy correct because you went above 125. I said below 125. I pushed up there, but I think we'll probably set in the market 95 lowest, 100 lowest anyway, and he didn't quite get there. Let's start with Walsh, the most traded in player this week. 75 points. I'll set the line up.
Who has he got this week again? Sorry,
He's got the Tigers at Campbelltown.
Okay, yep. 75. I'll go above. I'll raise the line to 80.
I'll raise. No, I'll go lower than 80. I was going to do it at 85, but I didn't want to be stuck going higher.
Just so you're folding, using poker terms. Yeah. I like it.
Talking about folding, Tim Naki.
Yeah.
Today's video wasn't as good.
Did he lose?
He lost. He was playing in Vegas.
Oh, I heard he was switching to the live thing.
Yeah.
He probably can't carry on as much and do his mad
Yeah,
streams.
that's
what makes it good. I love
yeah.
he's like, oh, you wouldn't read about it. I love that.
Yeah, it's funny because like you look at it online and you're like, oh, it could be better if it was in person, but I think it's the perfect setup. It's why it's done so well because he's doing it online, he's carrying on. But it's also like you can't really tell what's going on because I feel like recording in a casino is it's illegal in Australia, so you can't really see what's going on anyway. But for those that don't know, just search up Tin Naki.
Who's our next player?
Chance Nickel Clockstad. Set the line at 70.
I'll go above 70 and take 75 as the line.
I'll go above 75 and I'll go 76.
76.
Yep.
I'll go above 76 and I'll go 78.
I'll go above 78 and I'll go 80.
I'll take under 80. Not confidently, but I'll take it.
You'll take it? You don't really want to go too much higher?
So Titans isn't. I'm just sort of the SJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take it, but I feel like I wish. Do you want to go to 85?
You've already taken 80.
Yeah,
So you got to play poker here, mate. You got to play poker.
Right, I'm going to get you on this next one for sure. I'm going to screw you up.
Nathan Cleary.
Yep.
80 points.
Yeah, over 80, and I'll set the line at 100.
I'll go under. Easy.
Sick one.
You were going to go higher, weren't you?
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Oh.
He could fuck me in more ways than one this week. Who are your captains this week?
Nath.
Yeah,
so it's a big week. Like, we've got a good option. I think I'm going to vice captain. What's his face? Tommy Turbo in one of the earlier Friday games, and then it's a big decision between Nathan against the Cowboys, and also Nico Hines against a weaker sort of Raiders this week that have sort of got a few different pieces. In different spots. So, tough one, especially after Nico's bounced back to form. I think I'm doing Nathan, though. I think that's where my gut feels at the moment. It's hard, though, going off Nico when he was...
Yeah. In my opinion, I can... Like, Nathan and Nico this week against away from home. Both of them.
Away, yeah.
I think... that probably sways me away from them absolutely killing it this week.
Oh, don't be silly.
Oh, yeah, I think they're gonna kill it, but do they go that next level and put a score on?
Who's your guy?
I'm going VC Chance, Captain Tommy.
Yeah, cool. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like the Tommy feels good, safe, and VC Chance is like anything, whatever happens, happens.
Can you do it? You can't because they're both in fullback, but I've got the secret QR code to do it.
Oh, so what are you doing?
Nah, I'm doing VC SJ, I guess, because Tommy's my captain.
Yeah, it's funny because I keep thinking of like SJ. Chance was like centre wing.
Bro, if he was centre wing, he'd be in my. He would have been in my side already.
But he shouldn't be though. Like they've done the right thing by making him fullback exclusive.
We were saying the other week when Curran got moved to front row late. Well, like he deserves his duel, doesn't he? Because that was a massive thing for a while. What are you doing Thursday? Where are you watching the games?
Thursday is tomorrow. Tomorrow's my sister's.
No, Anzac Day.
Oh, Anzac Day. Oh, okay, yeah. So
Thursday,
I'll get my dates confused.
We get a public holiday Thursday.
Yeah, so there's 3 games.
Yeah, so there's 3 games. So if you are listening, game at 2 o'clock, I think another at 5:30, 4? And then another at 7:30.
Yeah, I'll be staying home saving my pennies because I'm going out for my sister's birthday. I think it's on the Saturday, so I've got to save my pennies for that.
Nice.
And save my liver as well.
Well, I think I'm definitely going to be out on the town on Thursday watching this. I've never really celebrated Anzac Day just because my parents are uncultured and never really got me into it. But I think I'm going to go out and celebrate.
Yeah, do the dawn service. Get up and do it properly.
Nah, I'm not that.
It's pretty cool. You go get a breakfast. You go have a beer like real early in the morning. You might be able to get a cider.
I'm doing a bit of moving in the morning, so I'll head out in the afternoon. Shout out to everyone. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Shout out to everyone. I love that. Shout out to everyone.
All right, cheers.
So I was like, I just got a shout out.
Did you hear? Hey, Mom.
That was for me.